people. It's so good to see you. I was supposed to film this in September, but it was just not the right time. Seasons change. We're in this kind of like shift between the warm, the hot, the sunny summer, and the cold, rainy fall. So it's a little bit hard to stay on track. It's a little bit hard to keep our habits, to keep our routines, and forgive me for that. But I'm getting kind of more in tune with the weather, with the season, with all of the plans that I got for the nearest future, because there are a lot soon and I'm going on a vacation, so that's a big one. We got all the holidays, we got Christmas, we got Halloween, all of that stuff. So overwhelming, just too much at the same time, but also kind of fun. We have to get ready for that, conserve our energy, and just go with the flow. Get into the tune, get into the vibes, get into the atmosphere, so that we could be at our best performance, at our best mood. I feel very inspired today, which did not happen instantly. So I was planning to film today, and I was determined to film today. I didn't have a script. I knew what I was going to talk about, but I didn't have everything written out, because usually my scripts are pretty tight, they're pretty small, they're pretty bullet point kind, you know? They're not very extensive. I am not the type of person to read off of the paper and just follow the script. I'm not really that type of person. I am more of a person to freely talk, to express myself, to wander in my mind through other opinions and find different routes to get to my point. But with this one, it is very different this time. This is a part 2 of finding, losing, and regaining your path, as promised. And when I just sat down to write the script, I was very lost and I was very like on pause. I couldn't know what to write. And I started collecting all of the thoughts that I had about this. And I wrote them out somewhat nicely in the beginning, but then I just caught on something so significant and so big that I'm going to talk about shortly. And I just started typing so much stuff. This script is so big. It is gigantic. Like, I cannot tell you how big it is. And I wrote it so quickly because I knew what I was going to talk about instantly. Like, I just clicked with it and I went for it. And I was so sure that the things that I wrote down here are so important and are so useful. I was so confident and I was so proud of myself at that point. So yeah, forgive me, I am going to read more things tonight. But these things are very important. And I swear they come from my brain. They don't come from anyone else. They come from my experience, they come from my knowledge, they come from the things that I've collected by myself by studying and educating myself on these things and experiencing certain things. But this is, there's some juice in here. There's some serious juice in here. And I am so excited to tell you about this, and I'm so excited to give you the insights that I have on the topic of losing and regaining your path. Since we talked about finding your path in the first part, I feel like finding your path is probably one of the easiest things. Among these three, I would say finding your path is the easiest one because it is full of positivity, and it is much easier to find positivity in finding your path, in discovery, in this constant search. It is fun, it is engaging, it is exciting. And I feel like you can succeed much better in finding your path rather than regaining it, for example. And losing your path and regaining your path are much more hard things mentally, and they are much more heavy on you as a person, and they are much more hard to get out of. Certainly. I will talk a little bit more in depth about it later when it comes to it, but there is one key thing that you have to establish to be able to get out of stagnation and frustration quickly and efficiently. So yeah, let's not stretch it out any further. Let's dive right into it. I'm so excited to tell you about all of these things, and I hope you find it useful and you find it insightful, and I hope you just feel as excited as I do. So let's establish one thing. Your life is not constant. I talked about it in the previous episode in more depth. We kind of discussed it in the realm of entering adulthood, entering your life, discovering your path, discovering options for yourself. It was clearly established that your life is not constant, and it might be some dynamic in how your life goes. It cannot be really still and, monochromatic in a certain way. To be able to come to terms with this, I would suggest that you focus your vision and you focus your perception on the positive impact of dynamic of your life. Since the movement from good to bad can be so different and can be so rapid, you may psychologically find certain positive things that happen in your life more entertaining and more engaging and more exciting because you experience the contrast of something bad happening to you. It's a very simple concept. It's very simple logic, certainly, but I just want to point that out and kind of focus on it, since it is so important to cherish the positive things that happen in our life. I found this one creator. I don't remember their name, but I will put them somewhere here on the screen. This creator, I've been following them for a very long time, and this guy, he is just a beam of light. He's sunshine. He's everything good about this world. That's him. Because this person helped me further understand that positive things that happen in our life can be so small and can be so insignificant, but our perception is something that defines the significance and defines the importance of these things in our life. So a simple thing like quiet morning coffee, or a sunny day, or acquainting a dog on a walk, whatever that could be, you can be so grateful and you can be so thankful for this happening in your life that it could make your day, make your week, or make your month. I don't know, it could stretch as far as you please, but it could make a certain period of your life so much easier mentally on yourself, and it could make it so much more exciting. It could make it so much more happyful. And I find it very inspiring. A lot of famous people that I read, I listen to, I follow, they have talked about failure. A lot of authors, a lot of speakers, a lot of business people, they have talked about failure. And it is not like a clickbait topic that people hop on just to be trendy and just to follow the written. No, I mean, certain people could, for sure, but these people who go through failures, they share a part of their story, and inevitably you will face a failure. It is unfortunate, it is sad, it is not exciting, it is not joyful, but it is eventually going to happen. In larger, smaller scale, you could be less or more devastated, you could lose more or less, but it will happen. It will. And it's totally okay. It's totally normal. And it's totally normal to not want that. It's totally normal to not want to lose, not want to be a failure, not want to fail, but it's also totally normal. It's a natural thing that happens in our lives. And you can find, I wouldn't necessarily say happiness, but you can find stability and you can find calmness in this, despite the fact that people don't want to lose. They shouldn't be afraid to lose. I am not afraid to lose. I don't want that, but I'm not scared of it. I'm not fearful. And this is something that differs me from other people and differs people like me from other people. The feeling of fear for losing is so detrimental to your personal growth. It defines you as a human. It defines how you perceive the changes and dynamics in your life. Because losing is part of the dynamic and is part of the progression of your life. And if you are afraid of progression of your life, you are afraid of life. You are afraid of living. If I were to tell you, hypothetically, just hypothetically, that life partially consists of you experiencing pain once a year, excruciating pain, yet once a year. And I would be telling you this since young age. And I would be like, this is a totally normal part of your life. It's how we are built. It's how life goes. It is what life is about. You will experience excruciating pain for 5 minutes once a year. You don't know when it's gonna be. It's really unpredictable, but you know it's going to come. And firstly, you will be fearful. Probably. When you're a kid, when you're young, when you're unexperienced, you will be fearful. But then as time comes, as time passes, you will lose this fear because you were told, I told you that this was part of life. I told you that this was natural, normal, and even good. I told you that the pain, this excruciating pain that you experience for 5 minutes, it transforms your body, it transforms your brain, and you can become a better person after those 5 minutes. At some point, you will become excited for this. At some point, you will be happily waiting for it. And this is what I mean when I say the difference of perception. It truly is only about how you see things and how you want to see things that make you live your life differently and experience life differently. Because take a second hypothetical scenario. I never tell you about the fact that you will be experiencing excruciating pain for 5 minutes in your life every year. And you go through it for the first time. You get smashed, devastated, horrified, crushed, just all the bad things happen to you, practically. You must think it's only once. You must think it only happens once. But then it happens again, and then it happens again, and then it happens again. And you keep thinking, what wrong is with you? Sounds a bit worse, right? And you won't really change your perception until you get proven that this excruciating pain is normal and is part of life. You may not like it. You may not want it. You may not enjoy it. This is not the point. The point is to not be fearful of it, to not be scared of it, and to be ready to face it. And this is about losing and regaining your path. There comes a point when you reach your limit. Whatever limit it is, it could be anything, because when you build your life, you build your certain goals, certain achievements and whatnot, and it only stretches so far. When you reach those goals, you may feel a certain emotion, certain anxiety, certain stagnation, certain frustration, sadness, and whatnot. And this is a totally normal scenario. This is a totally okay scenario that many people experience, and they mostly just move on with it. It could, unfortunately, cause you some negative emotions, and it could cause you some feeling of pause or some feeling of being stuck. It doesn't go any deeper than this, you know? It's mostly just a small feeling. It's mostly just inconvenience. It's mostly just an uncomfortable emotion. And it doesn't really affect your life for more than a small period of time. Because you have achieved a certain point, and what comes after is new planning. And it is very simple and it's very obvious. Your life goes on. But then there is another scenario. And this one is a little bit more painful. There is something very important that I've learned about life quite recently. I think it's been maybe a year max, maybe a little bit more. But this has changed my life massively. It transformed my perception up to the point that I have no fear of failure. I have no fear of stagnation. I have no fear of being stuck. I have no fear of the difference in life dynamic. And I really want to share that with you, since it made me a completely different person. It made me think about life in such a way that I have never thought about before. And I feel like nobody really talks about it. Once again, I'm discovering things that are not quite popular among the mindfulness community, if you could say so. And I feel like they're so detrimental to your growth, and they're so detrimental to your development as a human being, that they must be spoken about. Your life has to be built upon pillars. I want you to imagine a Jenga tower, and each individual piece is a pillar that your life is built upon. Your success is built upon it, your mental health is built upon it, your self-perception is built upon it, your future implications are built upon it. Anything possibly could be built upon the fundamental life pillars. And I have defined 4 pillars for myself. The number 1 is finance. It could be simply a 9 to 5, it could be a business, it could be a startup, it could be anything. But it has to fulfill the financial department of your life. Since right now we live in a capitalistic world, money is important. So we have to cover that. So the financial aspect is very important for any person in their life. It could be savings, it could be investments, it could be any type of financial security that you have to provide for yourself. That's number one. Number two is the social pillar. The social pillar includes your relationships, your friendships, your relationship with your colleagues, partners, any social circles that you can imagine. I don't know, a knitting club, whatever. It is about the people that surround you. It is about your interactions with people, and it's about your relationships with people and how much you trust those people and how much you can put into those people. The third one is health. The health pillar includes anything from physical health, sport, hobbies, I don't know, anything, to mental health, to self-care, reading, mindfulness, psychology, anything. It is about fulfilling the needs of your body, including your brain. It is about staying intellectually fed. It is about staying physically fit, and it's about keeping the connection between your mental and your physical. It is very important. It is very important to establish the connection between your body and your mind. You can do so much more when you know how to control your body with your thoughts. If you know how to stop certain signals, if you know how to stop certain behaviors that your body does unconsciously, if you can bring that to your conscious and tell yourself to stop, you can do so much more. And I advise you highly to take a look into that. I advise you highly to take a look into the connection that is created between your brain and your body. Please. It is not easy. I'm not telling you it is. But you have to study that, and you have to go through that, and you have to be able to establish this connection, at least on some level. Okay? Moving on. And the last one, the last pillar, is fun. I feel like it could be a part of like health, because fun is something that brings you emotions and brings you positivity, but I wanted to bring it out as a separate category. Those pillars, those 4 main pillars, I'm not saying that's everything. You can customize them how you please. But those pillars help you stay strong. Those pillars help you calculate your life. Those pillars help you manage your time. They help you manage your resources. They help you look forward in time. They help you build plans. They help you look into the future, and they just help you feel more secure about yourself. Now to the more important part, and to the main thought of this episode. I initially didn't really want to share anything personal, because when it comes to talking about things like psychology or whatnot, it is important to just formulate the thought and send the message, right? However, I found myself realizing that the part of my experience that helped me understand what I'm about to tell you was so life-changing to me. It was so transformative that I cannot just skip it, and I cannot leave it out of this story, because I feel like I would not be giving you enough information. Guys, I am so mad at myself. I didn't check the microphone.
I've been filming for half an hour. I am so sorry. I'm not gonna refilm this because I had so many insightful thoughts. But from now on, the quality of the audio is gonna be better. So I apologize. I hope in the editing process I will make sure to tune the audio so that it's a little bit better. But I can't promise. I just can't. So from now on, the experience will get a little better. But anywho, let's continue. Okay, now that you hear me much better and we are a little bit closer, I can tell you all of the juice. At some point in my life, I had to experience 3 out of 4 pillars falling. My social pillar fell, my financial pillar fell, and my health pillar fell. I was at very poor health. I had no social relations compared to those I had before. I lost some important people I had in my life. They just walked away. And as a result of all of that, I couldn't bear working a job that I had at that point, so I had to quit. Because I didn't perform even in the slightest as how my job required. It was one of those points that I had to just say that it was rock bottom. It was the lowest that I probably was ever in my life. And it took me around 3 months to recover. And speaking from who I am today, I can confidently say that it did not require that much time. I was over-exaggerating. I was over-expressing myself, and I was overthinking 100%. All that because I did not have the confidence, the love, and the assurance in myself. I felt lost. I felt like I betrayed myself. I felt like I betrayed people who believed in me. I felt like I lost at some game, and I just couldn't find, not the reason to continue, but I just couldn't find the strength and the faith in me to think that everything is gonna be okay. I felt like it was the dead end. There was no turning back. After this, there's nothing. After this, there's no life. This is how I felt. And I am embarrassed to say these things because now I'm just laughing at myself. Of course, with much love and much appreciation, much kindness. But I am truly laughing at myself because I realized that if I were to be at this point now in my life, I would be so much more efficient. I would be so much more quick in my actions. And I would be so little worried about the things that I was worried about. And surely enough, when you lose 1, 2, 3, or 4 pillars of your life, you feel devastated. You feel crushed. You feel destroyed. And this is a totally valid feeling. I knew that I had to recover quickly because I knew that something was coming up in my life. Certain events, certain things. I knew that I had to put myself together fast. Even though I didn't, because of my emotional state there was something else that I found that was so helpful, that was so life-changing, as I've said before. And it was what I would call the fifth pillar of your life, the emergency pillar of your life. And weirdly enough, the emergency pillar of your life is you. In this pillar, you have confidence, you have safety, and most importantly, you have knowledge. I had to learn how to be by myself. I had to learn how to stay by myself to be able to establish the emergency pillar. I was never really told this before I could experience it myself, but the harsh truth is that you are not the only, but the first person that you can rely upon. The very first person that you have to seek safety and you have to seek help from is yourself. You must be convinced that you are the person that you can rely upon during emergencies. This is so important. You must be convinced and so sure that you are the person that you can come to when you feel your worst. Now, I am not saying that you cannot have trustworthy partners, lovers, friendships, friends, family members, whoever. I'm not saying this, but I'm saying, and I'm sorry that I have to say this, but people can choose to walk away. People can choose to not support you. People can choose to not be by your side. People can choose to prioritize themselves. And people can choose to leave you at any certain point in your life. They don't have to take accountability for anything. They don't have to take responsibility for your emotions, for your state, for anything. They can choose to walk away any day, and you don't have a say in it. You cannot force anyone to be by your side. You cannot force anyone to be supporting, to be loving, to be caring. You cannot force people to have emotions towards you, to have feelings towards you, to have empathy towards you. But there's something else that you can do. There is one person that you can force to love yourself. You can force to care about you. You can force to feel empathetic towards you, do something for you, and that is, drumroll, you. Yes, you are the only person that you can force to be the reliable person. You are the only person that you can force to be trustworthy. You can have trust in other people, but you cannot ever be 100% sure that they will be by your side. This is impossible. You cannot control other people. You can control yourself. In the mindfulness community, or the content around it, there is a popular phrase nowadays, which is program yourself. That shit's been around for years now, but we're only starting to talk about it now. What I need you to do is program yourself. The least you can do is be acknowledged. And I just made you acknowledged. I just made you aware of this. I just made you aware of the fact that you have to establish your emergency pillar. This is the first step that you can take towards actually establishing this fifth emergency pillar. To be prepared is extremely hard, but you can be aware. I just made you aware. It is the first step to success when you achieve rock bottom. To help yourself establish your emergency pillar, you must test yourself. Be alone. If I could scream, I would. Be alone. Test yourself and be alone. I first tested myself willingly. I'm not saying willingly. This is important because when life forces you to be alone, this is much different. You have to be willingly testing yourself with loneliness. This is important. The first time that I tested myself with loneliness was actually this year. It was so recent. And to me, it was spending the New Year's alone. I spent the New Year 2025, I spent it alone. I didn't have anyone by my side. And if you watched the first episode of Meanings and Reasons, you know everything about it. But if you don't, I felt horrible before that. Reaching New Year's, coming closer towards this, I was petrified, terrified, scared. I wanted to rip my skin. I wanted to escape my body because I was so scared. But I knew that I had to go through this. I willingly tested myself with loneliness so that I could prove myself that I can establish my fifth pillar. That event, the fact that I celebrated the New Year's alone, made me start this podcast because I felt so confident, I felt so powerful being by myself, being myself, that I was ready for another big step, which was starting this podcast. I felt so confident and sure that I will be my own savior in the dark moments that it made me unstoppable. It made me so powerful. It made me so self-confident and so sure about myself. I cannot even describe you this feeling. I'm not saying I would not prefer help. This is different. You may want to prefer help, but if you are left with no choice, you have to be sure that you can save yourself. And this is your key to regaining your path after you lose it. This is really, if not the only, then the most important thing that you have to do when you stop, when you reach the darkness, when you reach rock bottom. Because it all started in the beginning of your life, it all started from you taking the first breath. It all started from you pushing yourself to take the first breath. I find it so poetic that babies have to push themselves to take the first breath. Sure enough, the nurses can help, the parents can help, but it mostly is the task of the baby to take that first breath. And in times of darkness and in times of total disbelief, you have to remember that you took that first breath. Nobody took it for you. They could have helped you, but nobody took the breath for you. So take that breath. Take that breath again. When you feel your worst, remember to take that breath and take that step and start from yourself. Start from building that hella confidence and start from building that strong, rock hard belief that you can be your own savior. I just made you aware of this and I helped you. I introduced you to that. You can take that as you please. But I suggest you think about it a bit more. I just suggest you to ask yourself if you could be that emergency pillar for yourself. If you could be that one pillar that holds everything when nothing is left. And if you cannot answer positively, take some steps. Test yourself. Test yourself with loneliness. Create scenarios. Act upon those. Just test yourself. Make sure that you feel you're most comfortable by yourself. This will help you massively. You won't need anyone else. You would want someone, but you won't need them to recover. You won't need them to heal. You won't need them to progress. Of course, as time passes, you will introduce the other pillars all over again, make new connections, find a new job, explore new ways to entertain yourself, fix your health. But it all starts with that emergency pillar. It all starts there. The last thing that I want to add, it's like a little thing, but it's kind of there. Besides the utmost confidence that you can have in yourself, besides the strength that you find in yourself to actually believe in yourself, one more little thing that I would suggest thinking about is inspiration. I feel like inspiration is such a crazy drive. It's such a powerful force that can help you rebuild yourself piece by piece. And it can help you find those last bits of strength within you to keep pushing. Because when we are talking about rock bottom, we're talking about rock bottom. We're talking about the time when your energy is minus 100. So you have to seek something that will force you to want to do things. And besides self-confidence, besides belief, besides all of these things that I've mentioned before, one of those could be inspiration. One of those could be something that you dream about. Anything. It could be anything. It could be material, it could be non-material, but it has to inspire you. It has to evoke that drive within you. Just keep that in mind. I am here to tell you that downfall is inevitable. It is quite unfortunate, quite saddening, but it is true. This is the time for transformation. It is time for change. And I bet you'd want to use it when you go through a downfall. You would want to take that chance to transform yourself. This is what I talked about. 5 minutes of excruciating pain, but it makes you a much better person as a result. Think about that. Think about the fact that this is going to transform you if you decide that it will. And on the other hand, I'm also here to say that sometimes stagnation is important. It is safety, it's security, it's needed, and you should not blame yourself for needing to stop, needing to pause, needing to take a breath and just stay at the point that you're at. Because what's interesting is that probably present is like the most secure thing that you have. And I totally understand that feeling of needing to just stay at one level. It is totally understandable, and on certain occasions it's totally okay. So make sure to feel what you need. Have that connection between your mind and your body. It is all just a circle argument. It's all connected. I'm telling you. This is all I have for you for today. I am so thankful to have you. I am so thankful that you support me, and I would not believe that I have this little community of people who support me, and I am so grateful, and I am so excited to continue this journey. So thank you so much for staying here with me. I hope you have an amazing day, and I hope you stay the person that you can trust. You stay reliable to yourself, you believe in yourself, and you believe that you can keep pushing if you have yourself. I'm sending you all of my love. Thank you so much again for being here, and I'll see you in the next one.